So today we're talking about Saturn and past life karma. Saturn, as we all know, is the keeper of karma. So it keeps track of all the accumulated karmic debts through multiple lifetimes. Of course, no human can deal with so much past life karma in one life. So your soul chooses to master certain specific karma in this lifetime. This is indicated by Saturn's position in your Vedic birth chart. The house where Saturn is located is the area where the karmic lessons are focused. These are the karmic debts that you cannot escape in this life. Saturn will ensure that you go through these lessons. Saturn doesn't really want to punish you just for the sake of it, but Saturn is inherently tamasic in nature, so that means that the lessons Saturn brings are through hardships and struggles. But these lessons are a direct consequence or corrective measures for one's past life actions or misuse of energy. The specific house where Saturn is located in your chart is the exact area where your soul has accumulated the maximum amount of karmic debt. It could be because of misuse of power or influence or irresponsible actions or neglected responsibilities. It could be anything. Saturn ensures that you return to this particular area of life to master what was previously not done correctly. So say your Saturn is in the 10th house, then the challenges will be primarily around career or ambition or authority. You might face delays in your career or struggle to get to position. Saturn typically introduces delays, obstacles and hardships as a way to enforce discipline, responsibility and patience. When a person has to go through all these struggles, he inevitably will learn responsibility and patience. But even though the path might be hard and filled with struggles, the achievements you gain in that area of life where Saturn is sitting, the achievements will be stable and long-lasting because it is earned through genuine effort and long-term commitment. This success can last longer and bring you more happiness. So let's go through Saturn's placement in each of the houses. I'll be telling you what could potentially be the past life karma when Saturn is in that house and what you should be focusing on in this life. When you listen to it, keep in mind that the goal of understanding about your past life karma is not to feel negative or upset about it, but rather to look at it as an opportunity to change what was not done previously. So as I said, Saturn is not here to punish you, but it's giving you an opportunity to rectify your past mistakes and to learn to do it the right way this time. And of course, the predictions will vary depending on what sign your Saturn is placed in and if it has any conjunctions or aspects to it. Drop me a comment on which sign your Saturn is placed in and if it has any conjunctions. Also, if you're new here, this is a brand new channel, so I would love for you to support me by subscribing and liking this video. So let's start. If you have Saturn in your first house, your past life karma is very much connected to your personal identity. So maybe in your past life you avoided your responsibilities or you put your responsibility on someone else when you're not supposed to. So in this lifetime you are asked to learn how to accept personal responsibility both for your life and for all your actions and even your physical well-being. In the beginning, it might feel like it's a burden for you and that you have to do it all by yourself, all alone, and nobody is helping you. But this is exactly the challenge. You need to build that inner strength to become a responsible person. When Saturn is in the first house, it could also mean that you lacked personal discipline in your previous life, or maybe you lived a life without any structure or any serious commitment. So in this life, your soul is learning the value of self-discipline and patience. So you might have situations in your life where life is forcing you to slow down or work hard. and build things methodically. You might also have struggles with your identity in your previous life. So in this life, the focus is on building your sense of self and building that strong self-worth without the need for external validation from others. So this means that when you're younger, you probably had or have, if you're still in your 20s, issues with self-confidence or feeling overshadowed by everybody else. But that is your journey of building your sense of self. If you have Saturn in your first house, you might also have too much fear or negativity or in general pessimism towards life. And your life's journey is about overcoming these fears and building a hopeful, optimistic outlook towards life. So basically, if Saturn is in your first house, the focus in this life should be about shaping your personality, because first house means personality and identity. When you have Saturn in your second house, Saturn has chosen to focus on your past life karma related to values, speech, and material resources. So this might indicate a past where you might not have done the right thing, what you're supposed to do, or you might have not spoken the truth when you had to and used your speech to manipulate things, or you broke somebody's trust. So in this lifetime, you're forced to learn integrity of your speech and actions. That means that in this life, you will be facing situations where your honesty is tested or you're forced to speak the truth, even when it's inconvenient. So it could happen that in your early life, you might get caught easily whenever you're being dishonest, or you might have to go through a loss whenever you're being dishonest. So life will teach you repeatedly that you need to be honest and that your actions need to align with your words. Saturn in second house also means that you might have issues in this life with respect to money and wealth. So money would not come as easy to you as it does to some others through luck. In your past life, maybe you had an unhealthy attachment to wealth, or you might have misused resources or taken somebody else's resources which you're not supposed to. So in this life, you are forced to build wealth through a lot of hard work. So the initial denying of money and wealth by Saturn is for you to develop that resilience and understand the true value of wealth. So Saturn in second house doesn't mean that you'll never have wealth. It just means that you will have wealth through hard work and possibly later on in your life. The lesson here is about managing wealth in a disciplined way. So Saturn will force you to learn self-control. When Saturn is in the third house, your past life karma is related to courage, personal effort, or discipline in taking initiative, or it could even be interactions with your younger siblings or close friends. In your past life, you might have had multiple ideas but never succeeded on any because you struggled with putting consistent effort or being disciplined with it. Or you might be lazy with going after your goals, and that would have led to frustration or feeling this unfulfillment in your life. And that is why Saturn in this life wants to ensure that you build consistent disciplined effort in all initiatives. So Saturn might bring delays and obstacles in order to build your patience and force you to focus on long-term satisfaction instead of instant gratification. You will also learn that true courage is not about being fearless, but about doing the hard work consistently. When Saturn is in the third house, the past life lessons are also about siblings or close friends. So maybe in your past life, you might have neglected your younger siblings or close friends. You might have probably not supported them enough or not given them emotional support, because of which now in this life, you might have some complex dynamics with your close friends or siblings. But Saturn here is teaching you patience, unconditional support, or even healing that damaged relationship between you both. When Saturn is in the fourth house, the past life karma is about emotions, mother, or home in general. The focus here is on learning about emotional reliability. In your past life, you might have probably caused trouble to your mother or any other motherly figure, or you yourself were a mother and you didn't do your motherly duties well. So in this lifetime, you're forced to learn about nurturing yourself rather than relying on external people to nurture you. You might find that you're always looking for people who will give you that unconditional love. Even in relationships, you might be looking for people who would give you that motherly love, but you will not find it easily because Saturn is forcing you to learn emotional nurturing within you. You might also have past life karma related to your home or property, or you might have some excessive attachment towards home or material comforts. So in this lifetime, Saturn is forcing you to learn detachment from home. So it might even force you to stay away or move away from home. So the main lesson for Saturn in 4th house is to learn self-reliance and build your own sense of comfort inside yourself. When Saturn is in the 5th house, the main lessons are around creativity, learning, children, or in general with the life force. Because 5th house is ruled by the sun, the focus here is about moral values. So in this life, Saturn is forcing you to check your moral compass and do things ethically and with integrity. Maybe in your past life, you misused your intellectual knowledge and influence for selfish reasons. So in this life, whenever you try to do any intellectual activities or advising others, you always feel that it is being scrutinized and you're forced to always use it in an ethical way. When Saturn is in the 5th house, you might also have challenges with children. In your past life, maybe you neglected some responsibilities towards your children or children in general, or you might have disregarded the nature of creation or creativity. So in this life, you might face struggles in the area of children and also creative activities. So by bringing these challenges, Saturn is forcing you to appreciate the real value of it. You might feel that your patience is always being tested with creative projects or with children. That's because in your previous life, probably you did not have patience with creative projects, and the lesson here is to learn humility and accept that things take time. When Saturn is in the 6th house, your karma is mostly around overcoming obstacles or rectifying past actions related to conflict or service. In 6th house, actually, Saturn is considered good because it helps you destroy your enemies and face any health challenges. In your past life, you might have faced significant opposition from people or people treated you unfairly. So in this life, you are given with opportunities to learn to fight those battles. But of course, because there is Saturn here, it will force you to deal with these battles ethically and with integrity. So you're basically clearing your karma with all these people. Saturn in 6th house also forces you to focus on your physical health, because if you don't take care of your health, if you don't exercise regularly or eat healthy food, you might face health issues with Saturn in 6th house. So that is basically Saturn telling you that taking care of your physical body is also your responsibility. Saturn in 6th house is also about service and labor. You might have had some past life karma about honest service, and that means that Saturn will not allow you to take shortcuts in this life, and it will give you success only when you put in the hard work and offer your service to others. When you have Saturn in your 7th house, your past life karma is mostly about commitment and relationships. Also partnerships. It's about learning authentic relationships and balance in relationships. You might see that you're constantly being tested on commitment, or you might find it difficult to find a long-term stable relationships or delays in marriage. That's probably because in your past life you might not have respected the sacred bond of marriage, or there might be a disrespect of a partner, or in general you might have created some problems in your relationships. So in this life, Saturn is teaching you what is the value of a relationship by delaying these things for you. By doing that, it's forcing you to rectify those past patterns. Saturn in 6th house is also about contractual agreements. So maybe in your past life agreements or dealings, you hadn't treated someone fairly or exploited somebody else. And in this life, you might face situations where you're constantly tested in your partnerships debts and negotiations. Saturn is teaching you how to learn to negotiate well and to bring balance and fairness to everyone involved. So the main thing about Saturn in 7th house is about contracts, be it marriage or partnership in general. In the past life, the contracts were poorly negotiated or not honored, and that is why in this life it is forcing you to understand the true value of agreements and contracts. When Saturn is in the 8th house, the karmic lessons are focused on inheritance, transformation, and in general hidden things in life. So you might feel that you're forced to face intense hardships in life, or you might feel isolated because there's no one to support you. Saturn here is teaching you patience and resilience. You might also find that you struggle with trust or find yourself in situations where your integrity is constantly tested or questioned. There might be a past life karma of betrayal or trust or exploitation of other people or other people's resources. So in this life, Saturn is forcing you to learn integrity and the true value of genuine, selfless exchange in relationships. Saturn in 8th house is also a great placement for spiritual growth, because in this lifetime you will have to go through situations which transform you. Through that process, you will do a lot of self-reflection and you will understand a lot of deeper truths that's needed for spiritual growth. Saturn in 8th house can be a bit of a difficult placement, but ultimately it is for your spiritual evolution. Saturn in 9th house indicates that your karma is related to fortune or religion, father, or higher wisdom in general. So you might feel that luck doesn't easily come to you and you might need to work hard for anything and everything. This could be because in your past life you probably misused abundance, or that you were not grateful for the blessings that you had, and because of that, Saturn in this life is creating scarcity of luck to compel you to value your fortune and seek non-material sources of wealth and security. People who have Saturn in 9th house always question traditional beliefs, and they don't like following the traditional paths, and they feel that they need to find their own path. And if Saturn is actually strong in 9th house, it can actually help you come up with your own version of spirituality. Saturn in 9th house also indicates karma related to your father or gurus. So you might have a distant or challenging relationship with your father or gurus. In your past life, you might have disrespected your father or any other father figure or gurus in your life. So in this life, you are forced to find alternate forms of father figure or mentorship. This is also a good placement for spiritual growth, because with every challenge, you're refining your connection with the faith and divine. When Saturn is in your 10th house, the past life karma is about your career or public image or authority in general. So in your early stages of career, you might have to work twice as hard as others to get the same amount of recognition, and you might see that you don't get the shortcuts like others do. Saturn here is forcing you to earn your recognition through consistent effort and discipline. In your past life, you might have misused authority or taken it for granted. So in this life, Saturn is forcing you to do all the hard work to actually realize the value of it. You might also see that if you do any unethical practices in work, you might face severe consequences. Saturn here wants you to have integrity in your work and public life. In your past life, there might have been expectations of easy success, or you might be resisting doing hard, difficult tasks. So Saturn here is teaching you that achievements are truly earned through hard work and consistent effort, and not just given easily. But the good thing with Saturn in 10th house is that once you put in all the dedicated effort, Saturn will ensure that you get lasting success. When you have Saturn in your 11th house, your past life karma is tied to gain or desires or social networks. You might feel that you don't get money easily like the others, and you have to put in a lot of effort through hard work and discipline. In your past life, maybe you acquired wealth through unfair ways, or you misused wealth for selfish purposes, or even could have taken your gains for granted. So in this life, Saturn is forcing you to get those gains through hard work and discipline and ethical conduct. You might also face challenges in your friend circle and might struggle to find reliable connections in your life. This could be from a past life karma of exploiting relationships for personal gain, or not putting enough effort into relationships, or treating those relationships superficially. So in this life, Saturn is teaching you the value of friendships and social circles by making you go through initial disappointment and betrayals. But eventually, when you do understand the true value of companionship and genuine connection, you will start to make better friends. You might also feel that your desires are often delayed or require a lot of effort to manifest. Saturn here is teaching you to detach from immediate gratification and to understand that true gains are only through disciplined, methodical approach towards long-term gains. When Saturn is in your 12th house, your past life karma is related to financial loss or expenditure. You might see that in this life you're constantly facing financial struggles even when you're trying your best. And Saturn here is trying to teach you that true security is not through external wealth, but through inner resilience. It is teaching you to go beyond material possessions. In your past life, maybe you have misused resources or you managed wealth very irresponsibly. So in your current life, you are experiencing loss to help you learn about security in yourself than through external possessions. The 12th house is also about inner conflicts. So you might feel that you're your own worst enemy, or you might have tendencies of self-sabotaging. Saturn here is helping you develop your inner strength and ability to confront your own shadow self rather than putting the blame out on other people. 12th house is also about moksha, so you might feel that you're often pulled towards solitude. Maybe in your past life you resisted spiritual growth or introspection, or you were too lost in the material things in the world. So in this life, Saturn is driving you towards deep introspection and spiritual growth. So all the losses and moral challenges that you're facing could actually be helping you towards your spiritual awakening and connection to the divine.